So why would you want to live off-grid when you're right in the middle of an on-grid area like suburbia? You may think, oh, well, you save money with power. Maybe, maybe not. In my state, we privatised the power system due to enormous government debts. Something had to be privatised and it ended up being the power system. Add to that carbon tax, which is currently being dismantled but has been in place for a little while, a few months at least. And also add to that smart meters, and you've got some pretty bad power prices. And with 2 or 2.5 years of these grid-feed solar systems being put up, they pay themselves off. And you've still got them for another, 15, 20 years, theoretically. So, in some aspects, under high power prices like we face here, solar panels do pay themselves off over a few years, but generally speaking, that's not where you'll make your savings. Where the real clanger is, most notably, is natural gas, and also telephone systems. Now, around here they pay something along the lines of $32.50, or as of about 6 or 9 months ago they were paying about that. $32.50 a month to have the natural gas lines connected. Just for the lines to physically be there. Line rental, service fees, maintaining the lines, which they never seem to do anything to anyway. All that is supposed to be included, meter reading and all that. It's all included in this $32.50. But crazy old thing about all this is people are paying $32.50 a month and not really seeing anything for it. There's people who spend 70 cents a month on natural gas and pay $33.50 that month. And with the big 100-pound propane bottles I've got, per bottle you're paying, it was $30 a year, and now it's like $35, $36 a year in rental fees for the actual bottle. Now you compare $35, $36 a year to $32.50 a month, and you start to see that it's not the actual cost of the natural gas used that's, the actual volume of gas you're using. That isn't the kicker. You're getting screwed on everything else. And so at the end of the day, what you actually pay for propane per litre, per gallon, per cubic metre or whatever isn't the issue. What becomes the issue, particularly for smaller users of natural gas, is the service fees. I'm only a couple of dollars more a year than what these people are per month. The other one is the old cellular phones. God blimey, the phone, my other phone's in the other room. With that I end up paying, I've got a prepaid thing on it, and I don't make many calls at all. And I end up paying $29 every 3 months, so it's less than $10 a month. Now over here we have another government asset that was sold off. There has been a lot of other competition brought into the market, and the original government's system that everybody had, the Marbell, whatever you want to call it. We used to call it Telecom Australia. It's now known as Telstra, and it's been 2/3 privatised. Anyways, I have no confidence in them whatsoever. Yes, they have quite a bit of good coverage, but talk about lying PR, stuffing people around, ripping people off. They're one of the worst companies in the entire country in regards to screwing people around and ripping people off. I don't trust them at all. There was a case they had that ended up on TV. This little old lady had been talked into getting better deals for her landline phone. So what ended up happening was she was basically paying $80 a month. Now, I know in the States, and there's actually one or two companies here who are like this, you can get unlimited calls within the United States, Canada and Mexico, and sometimes a lot of calls also to other countries. You know, and you pay your $80 a month or your $100 a month and get all this stuff included. Well, this little old lady was told that she was still paying for the calls, but she got a cheaper rate per each call. It was down from, from 16 cents or whatever it was down to 10 cents. And she was getting those cheap call rates, but in order to get there and get those cheap rates, she was paying a massive monthly fee. She was paying $80 a month to have her calls drop, 6 or 8 cents each. In the process of this, she was scared to make any calls because she was so crippled by the $80 a month fee that she, barely had any money for anything else. She wasn't eating much food because this $80 fee was eating her alive. She'd been told it'd be good for her to change up to this. She made very little calls, but people who make a lot of calls, they suggest you change up to it. Well, she made very little calls, but they made her change up a plan 3 times to the point she's paying $80 a month, and making very little calls. And here I am paying less than $10 a month for a cellular phone system, which I make very few calls on. And she's probably making no more calls than I do and paying an extra $70 a month extra for a phone that's stuck to the wall as opposed to one you can stick in your pocket and take wherever. This is another kicker. That may be an obvious option. I know of somebody, actually know of 2 people, who pay $80 a month for a cellular phone with very large data plans, and then they use tablets and laptops and the Wi-Fi connection with this smartphone, with these smartphones, to use the data on those smartphones. There's a guy at work and there's also a relative who, both have those plans. But this is the whole thing, it's all these service fees and all this stuff that grabs you. The other one is you may have other things like that that really grab you. I don't know if they've got large service fees for electricity connections. I know they've got some here, but I don't know what your usage is and how big those fees are. It all depends on the country you're in. I know I'm not always talking to Australians here. I'm usually actually talking to Americans. But yeah, that's something to sort of keep in mind, because it's sort of like the cost that jumps out and bites you, and everybody's focusing on the cubic foot worth of gas they're using, the kilos of propane or whatever, and then splurging out of the background is these little service fees, and it's usually physically for having a line or a pipe running into your house, and often to have that meter read. And with the propane, when it runs out, you make the call. If your prepaid mobile phone runs out, you go and get some more credit to put on it. That's a couple of things, and you may be able to find other things based on, particularly on things that you use small amounts of, where you're actually better to use some form of off-grid thing or something that's bought in rather than pay these exorbitant line fees for something that you make little use of. So yeah, just have a think about that one and look over your bills. And you know, there may be some things that you decide may be worth changing, or if you're intending you know, to move house or to build a new house in an on-grid area, consider those things. Is my use of natural gas with the stove going to be so low that it's just better going propane? You know, have a think about these things, because these are the ones that sort of come out of left field, that nobody really looks at, the ongoing connection fees. So yeah.